The CPC delegates have a lot on their plate with many different economic reforms under consideration. Earlier, I spoke to Douglas Paal of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and asked him what were the top priorities for the Chinese leadership.
There are a number, this is a very sweeping set of reforms that are being envisioned. And the financial reform is fundamental to getting all the other parts right. But there's also reform of the administration of the government, the significant reduction of approvals needed to start a business or to change a business in China. We've got taking care of the workforce that's moved from the countryside into the cities, finding the economic means to stabilize and ensure their social presence in the cities. Right now they live as non-registered citizens, and they don't have the benefits of public schooling and social safety net provisions. So there's a whole, right through the whole of society's interactions, there are elements of this third plenum that will touch the lives of ordinary Chinese.
Is the broad thrust of these changes to take control, economic decision-making, etc., out of the hands of the state and put it more into the hands of private enterprise?
I think the thrust is to find efficiency. The goal is to get China's major investments in capital investment to extract a better return on that investment. That's going to give China a boost past the mid-level income trap that many other countries that have rapidly developed, as China has, found themselves in. You've got to get competition, you've got to get productivity out of the system. And there are a number of reforms that have been well identified by the leadership. The question is whether the leadership can persuade all the stakeholders that these are the right reforms for them.
Competition, key word you mentioned there. How does China get its state-owned enterprises to be more competitive?
Well, a lot of the state-owned enterprises are doing well, and a lot of them are losing money. So they'll have to decide which ones that are losing money have to be reorganized. More importantly, however, they're going to change the environment in which the state-owned enterprises operate by giving them less of a monopoly position in the economy, introducing more private and other state competitors into the marketplace so that these firms, whether state-owned or not, will become more productive, more efficient, use less capital, and promote more consumption for the Chinese economy.
Many of the state-owned enterprises in China are considered strategic industries. They're tied closely to what is termed the national interest. So how difficult is it going to be to take it out of state hands, put it into private hands, for instance?
It's going to be very difficult. China describes itself as socialism with Chinese characteristics. And socialism implies ownership of the means of production, and especially in very sensitive areas. However, some of these sensitive areas have become very costly. Petroleum, transportation, telecommunications have been kept away from foreign competition. If China wants to be a world competitor, it has to get into the international competitive shape that only real competition can bring them into. So there's going to be areas that are very sensitive, that are military security, that they won't touch in my view. But others that people have seen as sacred cows are going to be a bit less sacred after this plenum.
Will there be opposition to these reforms, and where will that opposition come from, if there is?
Well, you've got opposition from vested interests and opposition from people who are ideologically opposed to further dismantlement of state-controlled economies. The vested interests are the strongest. The intermarriage between the industries and the party leadership through the children of party leaders is pretty strong. And these people know how to speak to their parents and say, this is going too far, this is going to affect this. We're going to enter a period, it's not going to be tomorrow, it's going to be several years, maybe 10 years, of transactions where these people are either bought into the system, become real owners, or get bought out of the system. The whole goal being to bring in people who can manage these enterprises to make them more efficient.